Well, howdy there, my friends. This is Cryptic Paradigm, and I'm going to bring you another saber review. And this time, guess what? Did you guess? Yeah? Well, guess what? Yeah? It's not a Gen 3. It's not an Eco Saber. It's something completely new. And it is. Voila! A saber that I am quite pleased with so far. So far, I am very, very happy. And near as I can tell, this is a saber from circa 19, 19. Yes, it came out just shortly after World War One during the Great War. They decided to make lightsabers. That's just silly. Anyway, so circa 2017. Uh, yeah, I'm chronologically disadvantaged. Anyway, this is an offering by JQ Sabers. And I was doing a bit of research, and near as I could tell, this was called a Valiant. And it doesn't seem to be a hilt that they're producing anymore. But I was lucky enough to get one from someone in Luxembourg. So this saber made its way across the pond to my basement apartment here. So, what do we have? Well, we have a saber that runs Crystal Shard 4.0. I find that the swing sensitivity is a little bit off. Some of the flashes, the flash on clash, some of the RGBs are a little bit odd, and the RGB choices are odd. And then there's an Ahsoka Tano font on here, which clearly does not need to be lime. That needs to be silver or white, whatever. So I'm gonna make some adjustments to this, but I haven't actually taken the SD card out of this to do any of that. But I might not need to, and I'll show you why. Anywho, so this pommel is kind of standard fare for JQ Sabers. Most of their apprentice style hilts sort of either have something that's just straight, or sort of what's the word? They sort of go in like this. The insert tends to move around a little bit. Near as I can tell, that's the only flaw with the saber. This is probably prior to when they decided to start gluing those inserts in. But I would rather have one that I could remove if I was ever so choosing to do that. I'm not going to take the pommel cap off. Needless to say, there's a chassis in here with a soundboard and an SD card and all that stuff. You've seen all that stuff. You don't need to see it again, okay? And I don't want to risk doing anything nasty to the saber. So we've got this wrapping, and I'm not sure if this is leather. Maybe it's some kind of leather, but it feels like velvet. It might even be suede, I guess. I'm not too sure, but it sure is comfy. I like this. I like this a lot. It's kind of like it's like petting my cat. Anywho, so moving along, we've got a nice little CoverTech wheel. This is quite secure on here. Everything's quite secure, except of course for the insert that I mentioned. You've got here, I'm pretty sure this is a rice port, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not an expert on rice ports. I've never had a saber that has one. Needless to say, I gotta do a little bit of research on in that. If it's compatible with my computers, it runs Windows 7. It's an older Lenovo, but if there's some way that I can access the rice port, I think that allows you to get in there and customize everything. It'd be a heck of a lot easier than taking out the SD card and fiddling with the chassis and that kind of nonsense. I'm a little bit gun shy about opening up sabers and taking out chassis with my experiences with the Gen 3s, although this saber is far superior quality. All right, then. So you got your kill key there, and up top side, you've got your momentary switches, and this one's the ignition key, on off, and this is the auxiliary key. And I really like these backlit switches because I don't have anything with a switch quite like this. It's sort of rounded in the middle, so it gives you kind of a tactile feel, but it's recessed enough that you don't have to worry about, inadvertently, turning the saber on or off, or changing the settings or whatnot. And that's just brilliant. I love that. Okay, so of course, this is aircraft grade aluminum, which you can see it's exposed here. This is a very comfortable choke point. There's no there's no sharp edges or anything to be concerned about as far as comfort goes. And this is a remarkably light saber. I don't know the exact weight of it. I'm almost inclined to get actually, I have a scale at work, and I should probably start weighing these things, because my conspiracy weighs a good, it's like 150. I would say this weighs about 75% what my conspirator weighs, and my other apprentice saber, it's comparable in weight. For a saber that has this much, detailing on it, that's kind of surprising. But for some reason, it's super light, and therefore it is super comfortable. All right, I'll get to that. Hold your horses. So here's what I love about the saber. You have this slanted emitter. This piece. This makes me wistful for this. This is just Vader. This is Vader through and through, and I really like this touch. This isn't necessarily a Sith style saber, but this touch. I like this, because I've seen some photos of the other Valiants, and they're generally silver, so this is fairly unique. And you have this really high quality knurled blade retention screw here. This is better than I usually get for a blade retention screw. This one's quite nice. And we got some powder coating down here. Got some gold. The emitter has some fine ridge detailing here. If you get in there, you can see that the anodization kind of continues into the socket there. Got a little bit of wear there, but that's to be expected. Actually, no, that's just shine. Because on the inside of this emitter shroud, as I'll call it, it's actually silver in there, which has a tendency of enhancing the brightness of the blade ever so slightly, from what I've discovered. So I have my standard custom saber shop 36-inch show blade in here, and I received notification I have more show blades coming. But no notifications for the sabers that they go with. So, but I mean, that's to be expected. The two sabers that I bought my other show blades for would be my Electrum Sabercrafts Aurora and my Saber Trio Reaver. And I don't expect to see those until at least next month at some point. Anyway, and I also received a NeoPixel blade for my other JQ Sabers, which hopefully someday they'll actually ship to me, because that saber's been ready for about 3 days. I hope the delay is because they're installing fancy schmancy fonts. But anyway, so I'll just kind of do the visual tour right now, and then we'll get to the sound fonts. I feel kind of guilty showing off a saber like this. I mean, to me, these sabers are my favorites, but I don't expect that everyone else appreciates the JQ Sabers as much as I do. But for some reason, they're my go-to. So, take out the kill key. This is actually the 6th font on this saber, and it's kind of obviously, if you were listening, it's sort of a dark side. So here we go. If anybody knows the name of these fonts, please let me know. I'm really interested in finding out what I have equipped on here. that's font number 6. So obviously the sensitivity on this one needs to be lowered. It needs to be lowered on some of the fonts and raised on other fonts. I don't know why they're... I think these are probably defaults. But anyway. Okay, so you got a nice Ray font. I love this hum. If you listen to the hum, it has an underlying hum. Very, very reminiscent of... See... I like this. This, I have several sabers with Vader fonts, but this one, I like this one. This font just works. I like this. Alright.
My ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is.
I have this font on my my Vader's Vault, my Revan Elite. So this one's not unknown to me. This font is a little bit on the subtle side. It's not as subtle on my Revan, but I think the settings are rather subdued on this saber, and I will make adjustments.
You have that power too. In time, you'll learn to use it as I have.
I just watched Return of the Jedi again this weekend, so that... It's just sort of... When you have a Yoda font followed by a Luke font, and and the Luke font is from Return of the Jedi, and then you have a blue blade. It just... I don't know, there's something about that just seems wrong. But then you don't want to have a green followed by a green, and... Oh... The burden of being a Saber fan, huh? The burden of being a Star Wars fan. I do like this clash. That one's nice. I don't think I'm gonna fiddle with this one too much.
The name's Ahsoka Tano.
Alright, and this is where things go off the rails. I love the font, but... I don't know if you can tell, but that's like a lime green. You really can't tell. The lighting in here is horrible. This font responds perfectly. It's a little bit subtle, but it actually responds. So I'm going to adjust all the other fonts to whatever this one's set at. It's a very nice font. I like it a lot. And then back to the beginning. And there you have it. So, this is the JQ Sabers Valiant. And I almost think this looks like I don't know, it looks like a Vader to me, now that I think about it. And the Vader font does fit. But I love all the fonts that this came with. I'm going to keep all these fonts. That's sort of what I do. But of course, I will make some modifications. At any rate, so I've shown off quite a bit and quite enough. So I hope you enjoyed this review of a saber that, well, you can't get unless you find one used like I did, and then go halfway across the world to get it. So at any rate, I love this saber, and I would have to say that I'm going to add this to the pantheon of comfy sabers that I own. If you saw my video from a couple days or from yesterday, yeah, this one is definitely comfortable. It swings like a boss. It's so effortless. Anyway, I'm gonna drop it right here. You know what I mean? I think you've heard enough. You've heard me wax poetic about my saber, and I hope you all have a very good evening and a good day tomorrow. The rest of this week is going to be glorious for all of us. Trust me. I know. Okay. Well, I will. I'll talk to you guys later, and y'all stay frosty. Bye now.